Live?
Just about.
Are we?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, hey, Will.
Yeah.
Your mama's so stupid. It takes her 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes.
Well, your mama's so fat that when she buys a fur coat, a whole species goes extinct.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, dang. All right, well, yeah, both of y'all's mamas are so fat. The sorting hat put them in Waffle House.
Your mama's so fat, when she step on the scale, they say, we didn't ask for your phone number.
That's actually pretty good. I love a good yo mama joke.
Your mama's so poor.
Oh, he's got more.
When she goes to the park, the ducks throw bread at her.
Your
That's
mama's
pretty
so
good.
fat, even Dora can't explore her.
Oh, wow.
No one's swiping that.
Did you guys tell yo mama jokes in school?
No, I mean, probably. I don't remember.
Did you, Taylor?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody did.
Yeah.
I didn't do that when I was in school. But
Oh.
anyways, guys, we brought you guys some yo mama jokes. I hope you're not offended. We weren't talking about yo mamas. I was talking about Will's mama.
My mom's watching this right now. She literally
gonna
just
get
texted me
excited
that she's
very
watching
shortly,
this.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's so funny. Will's mom is the sweetest. We go through her text, and I think we have more text to go through today, don't we?
I
From your
didn't
mom?
load them up, but I'll load them up tomorrow for the stream.
So if Will's mama wasn't actually talking about you. You're great. Anyways, guys, this past Friday, we went on a ride along with the LAPD.
Oh, it was an incredible experience.
It was an incredible experience. It was actually an incredibly scary experience as well. The
Yeah.
area that we're in, known as Watts in Los Angeles, is virtually controlled by nothing other than gang violence and drug abuse. So it was very, very harrowing to see. It was a very sobering experience. And shout out to the LAPD for doing their jobs, because it's not an easy one.
Yeah, we went to South Central LA, and we're going to have a full video for you guys. What we did is basically we're shooting a vlog there. It's kind of like the one we did where we took Amala to Hollywood, if you guys saw that, but a little bit more serious, still some fun in there, but obviously it's a very serious topic about going into somewhere like South Central LA and showcasing what is going on, but that video is going to come out, so we don't want to spoil everything for you now. But I can just say this, that any of the leftists who come and talk about police violence or talk about the police are all racist or anything like that, go on a ride-along in South Central LA at night, on a Friday night. Go do that before you say crap about any of these officers.
Right.
Until you go and do that, you have no room to speak. You're looking at CNN, you're looking at what some blue checkmark leftist on Twitter is saying, and that's how you're developing the ideas that you have about the police? No. You know nothing. And I honestly, Amala and I going there, and Taylor too, we all went, like, the amount of things that we learned, like, I felt like now looking back that I knew almost nothing until I went and now did this. I recommend everyone to try and go on a ride along, especially you leftists. If you're in there a leftist talking about police brutality, all this, go on a ride along, especially in a super dangerous area like where we went, and your mind will be changed immediately.
Right, and it's not just the fact that police officers go out every day and they are asserting law and order, because that's what they do, and that is the foundation of their job, but they do so much more than that. We got to go into these communities, and like I said, run by different gangs and different drug lords and things like that, people running prostitution rings and all sorts of crazy things. And these police officers not only show up to these places, they get out of their cars, they meet people in the community, they know everybody in the community, they have to network through the community, and they are actively changing lives. We met several young ladies here, which will be featured in our vlog, so I hope you guys get to see that, who have had their lives changed by the cops in this area. They had no hope, and it's a saying in Watts, the community that we're in, that nobody ever gets out of Watts. Nobody ever builds themselves up to be successful enough to get out of this neighborhood. And the cops have gone in, they've met with young women, young men, put them through after school programs, make sure they're getting educated, make sure they're getting scholarships, and they are changing their lives. I met young girls here who hated the police, through growing up in this neighborhood and hearing everything that the mainstream media had to say and all the things in the news and social media.
And what their community said too.
Right. And their community hates cops, because obviously a lot of them are just violent criminals. And they met with police officers, and police officers changed their lives and gave them hope. So what Will and I got to do when we first got there was go through one of those police simulators where you respond to different calls, you make an assessment, and you have to act as if you are a police officer. So we're going to show you a little clip of how that went for both Will and I.
It did not go well.
It did not go well. So here we go.
Nobody understands me. Nobody understands me.
Drop the weapon, sir.
1849, you got a 5-minute ETA.
Get back up.
You guys want to bother me? You want to bother me some more?
Sir,
Why don't you guys
drop the
do
weapon.
so I can do what I need to do?
Drop the weapon. You should not be doing this.
Now, come on.
Hey, sir.
Let's go.
Sir.
Stop. All right. So.
I shot him.
Okay. We're. You got your handcuffs?
Killed an unarmed man.
He was coming.
To hurt me.
Time to go, buddy.
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay.
Bad boy.
He's coming to punch me.
Okay,
Okay.
that was Will's clip.
That was my clip, and I clipped the guy. Okay, so my scenario was they put me there with like a fake gun, fake taser, pepper spray, and my fists, basically, and then some barriers. And they were like, all right, this guy is chilling. He wants to kill himself. He's got a knife, and he's putting it up to his neck, and you're the officer, and you have to figure out what to do. And so I start talking to this guy. I'm like, yo, put the knife down. You got a lot of reasons to live, all this. And then the guy starts like, he starts charging me. He drops the knife, and then he's coming at me with his fist. And I'm like, yo, stop it. And then he like punches me, and so I shoot him. So it was
So Will's going to jail for the rest
so
of his
I'm going
life.
to jail. If I was a police officer, if that was an actual situation as a police officer and that happened, I would go to jail.
Right.
I would go to jail for shooting an unarmed man. But I didn't know that. And I didn't react fast enough because I haven't had the right training to know like, oh, put your gun away, take out the taser, and then tase him, or try and maintain more distance, or get behind a barrier, whatever, or beanbag him. So all those different things. It was such a wake up call to like how stressful it was to be a police officer in one of these situations, like to
Right.
know what to do and to have the proper training. Like those police officers, we went through that. This was the first time that we went through that, and we'll show Amala's in just a sec. But they go through these things thousands of times, these simulations to figure out what to do. So it's incredibly tumultuous work.
And the left will tell you that police officers have no accountability. We were talking to these police officers about this training program, and this is just a small part of that. And they will do this over and over and over again. There are thousands and thousands of different scenarios that these cops have to get out here and act out and do it so efficiently. If they respond poorly to a scenario, you are not a police officer. You will not be joining the force. You have to do this over and over again until you get it right. And when you join the force, every single year you have to do a reassessment of these things. You have to go back through this simulator, and you have to do it right every single time. And Will and I could not do it right even once.
No.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to show you my scenario. So just to preface this, I was responding to a robbery, which I think is a much harder one than Will got.
Mine was way harder. No, what do you mean? Mine's way harder. The guy's going to kill himself.
Okay, Will should have tased the guy, right? The guy had a knife. Will should have tased him.
But what if I tased him and then he killed himself?
What do you mean? But you have to do something.
I did. I
would
took
most
the law
likely-
into my own hands.
Okay, well, I responded to a robbery, and this guy's running away, and this was my response to this.
Oh.
Stop right there. Put your hands up. Turn around slowly.
Talk to him. He's not dead yet.
Sir? Oh.
Okay.
Over.
Oh man.
This is intense.
I went to prison. I was like, it can't get worse than this, and then I got killed.
I know.
Yeah, so I died.
no.
That's what happened to me. I responded to the call. The guy is running away. Of course, police officers know to assess the area that they're around. I obviously didn't think of that. The guy runs up. He pulls the gun on me. I shot him. And to be fair, I shot him in the balls.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you blew his testicles off.
Yeah, they showed the little X where you hit the
Yeah.
guy after, and like Will, I think, missed a couple of his shots, and then Amala shot the guy in the nuts, so.
And I went through the simulator a couple times. I sunk all my shots. Okay, I just want to
Yeah,
say
but you have to tell him
excellent.
what you did on the second one.
Okay, I will tell them what I did on the second one. But
Because
anyways.
you're saying you did better than me. You did the exact same thing that
I'll
I
tell
did.
you what I did. So I shot this guy. Okay, he's down. I didn't realize the getaway car had another driver in it, and I just got shotgunned and killed. So I died in my simulation. At least Will lived in his. The other one that I ran through was the same exact situation, except this time the robber ran. He stopped. I told him to turn around slowly, and he threw something at me. And while he was throwing it at me, I shot him
Three
And
times?
3 times. I shot him 3 times. Landed every shot though. But I shot him 3 times, and obviously I would be going to prison for life for that because he was unarmed.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't realize that like when cops are in these scenarios where someone's like resisting arrest or even attacking them, like the possible outcomes for them is either they get killed, they shoot someone and kill them, or they go to jail for the rest of their life.
Right.
Like those are the possible outcomes of a situation that you face basically all the time in your job.
Right.
And like and then you have like 2 seconds to make those choices, you know, in real time while the situation's developing. And like if they're charging at you with weapon, but they drop the weapon in the mid-charge, now it's a whole different scenario, and all the legal ramifications are different and all that. And you have to know that instantly and act instantly. And it's amazing how much restraint they show, honestly.
I know, for real.
When I went through my simulation, after I finished that one with the robber, the cop turned the lights on and he goes over the situation with me, which is what they do after an incident like this happens. And he goes, "How many rounds did the guy fire at you?" I said 2. It was 3, and he knew that. And it was a simulation of which he had never seen either. And he said, "How many rounds did you fire at him?" I said 1. I was right, it was 1. And then he said, "What was in the background?" I had no idea what was in the background. He goes, "I think there's a children's playground back there. You could have hit a pedestrian, you could have hit a child." He goes, "Was there a car in the frame?" I had no idea. He knew exactly what car it was. He knew exactly that there was somebody in it. So they are trained beyond belief to assess these situations and make split-second decisions of which impact the lives of everybody in the area. So it's insane what they have to do as a police officer.
It is. So we give them all of our support.
We really do.
That is incredible. So you guys will see a full video soon. We're excited to show you, and we'll probably do a breakdown of the whole video on stream too, to go through more of our thoughts.
Right. And then our next endeavor here is we showed you guys an amazing teacher showing up to a school board to speak out against CRT in her county. And I want to pull up this video just to show you it again so you can see her amazing speech. And then we got to interview her. So I'll show you that interview.
Fairfax County public school teacher, and I'm going to give a message of encouragement to parents and teachers and students who are too afraid to come and speak forward. Parents, the longer that you wait and you don't hold your child's schools accountable gives these guys more time to dictate what's best for your child's physical, mental, and emotional health. Don't be afraid to speak out for your kids because they are voiceless and they rely on you. You should be afraid of them rooting for socialism by the time they get to middle school. Teachers, it may seem that our careers have come to a dead end, but I'm here to remind you we don't work for the school board. We work to mold the next generation of well-rounded American patriots. So don't give up because it is up to us. Students, you are on the front lines of these indoctrination camps. Challenge the staff when you're presented with a ludicrous statement, and do not allow anybody to tell you that you cannot accomplish anything because of your skin color or to hate yourself because of your skin color. Students, it is up to you to be the next generation of victims or victors. And finally, to the board, this isn't over, and your policies are just as pathetic as making us wear a mask.
Nick Goffard, followed by Ryan.
I could watch her do that 1,000 times.
Right. She's amazing. That was amazing. She's so cool. And we got the chance to actually interview her here for the stream. So I'm going to pull that up for you guys to see as well. Hello, everybody watching. So if you watched our stream last week, you saw a great video of a teacher from Fairfax County speaking out at the Loudoun County School Board meeting against CRT. Her name is Lilit Vanetsyan, and we are lucky enough to have her here today for an interview. Thank you for coming, Lynette.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start out talking about the lead up to that, because it was such an awesome moment. I remember Amala, Taylor, and we were watching it, and we were just like, yes, yes,
blown away.
So blown away. I wish more people had your guts, though, that you had up there talking. But what made you get to that point where you were like, I have to go here and say what I said?
For years, I've been screaming from the mountaintops that our school system is rigged, and that our school system does not have the best intentions for our kids. Prior to COVID and the lockdowns and kids being stuck at home, I was trying to get people's attention about how there's zero consequence for anything. I mean, the kids can do whatever they want, essentially, and not get an education out of it. And I was screaming about this from the mountaintops, and nobody was really paying attention. And then the shutdowns began. And then the kids were learning from home, and the parents had no other option, no other choice than to see exactly what's being taught in the curriculum. So now that you've honed in the parents' attention, now that you've got things going on national news, this is a perfect time to form an army, form an alliance, and go full force.
And what are you seeing as the main implication of CRT right now? When you're up there on stage and you're talking about, here's what CRT is doing to our kids, how do you explain CRT to people? Why is it so insidious?
CRT is insidious because it focuses on the evilness of this country, and that this country was founded on racism, and the institutions are inherently racist, and the foundation of this country is racist, and the founding fathers are racist, the Constitution is racist, and now, fast forward, we're even saying that math is racist, that 2 + 2 can equal 5, and that you need to check your math privilege. So, I mean, it's absurd, but if we just lay back and, complain on social media or make fun of it, we're really just letting it get to our kids even more. So we have to, set our foot down and speak up.
And so what are you seeing with other teachers or parents? Are you seeing more people speak up? Or are you feeling kind of alone in this fight?
No, definitely not alone. There are so many students, teachers, and parents alike who are fed up with this, fed up with everything, fed up with the masks, fed up with the social distancing, fed up with the curriculum, fed up with the indoctrination, the bias in the schools. Are fed up because, they spend so much money on these anti-bullying initiatives and inclusion for all and equity for all. But you might wear a certain colored hat with a certain person's name on it to school and you'll be sent to the principal's office. So there's so much bias in our schools. It's horrible.
So you took it upon yourself to head over to the Loudoun County School Board and you did this amazing speech. We've talked about it on our stream here and it went viral. It's been seen everywhere. A lot of conservatives, major conservatives are covering it. What has been the backlash? Has there been a lot of support? Have you been canceled because of this? What's going on?
Outpour of love from not just teachers within my county, not just from teachers within my county, from the state, but all across the country. On my Instagram account, I'm getting a flood of messages from people thanking me and saying, you have encouraged me to get involved. I have 3 little kids in the system. I will be getting involved with the school board. I will be holding my elected officials accountable. And that's all that I want. I don't want the attention. I don't want the, how can I thank you? You can thank me by getting involved.
Great.
Amazing. It's like, I love that message. And we're talking about the backlash and how you haven't seen a whole lot of backlash. You've seen more love because most people, when this is happening to them, they're so scared of what some lady in their PTA is going to think about them and worried about what the left is going to do to them. It's like, you got so much love. So many people are now encouraged to stand up because of what you did. So if more people did it, we can really form like a huge army, but it takes people like you to do that. What is your advice fully to anyone out there who sees this going on and is thinking about speaking out? What do you say to these people out there?
So for parents, mainly, the first thing that you want to do is you want to keep your eyes and your ears open so that you are aware of what is coming into your child's book bag. And for parents and teachers alike, stop voting for the same people in your local elections that are putting you and your kids in your current demise. Stop voting for these same people on the school board, on the board of supervisors, on the Department of Ed, whatever. Stop voting these people in. Get out of the teachers union if you're a teacher, because they're against you if you're against CRT. They're against you if you're against the sex ed curriculum. So stop funding them, stop voting for them, and hold them accountable. And the best way for you to do that is to hone in on what is going on in your child's school. It doesn't mean you spend 24 hours a day, researching or reading their material. It just means that you are aware of what is coming through your child's brain.
Right. And this is going to be a sort of culture war within our public institutions right now that is going to be composed of a lot of small battles. And it is going to take time. In the meantime, for parents who are struggling with CRT, gender theory, sex ed in your schools, you can go to PragerU.com/prep, sign up for our prep program. We have plenty of resources for you guys, teaching your kids true American history, true math, true science, and also giving you tools to fight against these sort of public institutions and this critical race theory that they're teaching. So I want to give you our parting words, Lilit. So do you have a hopeful message for people? Are you optimistic about what's going to happen? Are you pessimistic? And what should people be thinking when they come out of this interview?
Great question. I can't be pessimistic because 5 months ago, nobody was speaking out. 3 months ago, people weren't really speaking out. So it's a ripple effect. It takes just a couple of people to stand up and form an alliance. So if people feel energized just from watching me, then anything can happen, right? I'm nothing special. I didn't do anything special at all. So if you're motivated by that, if you're inspired by that, find that within yourself, find the courage within yourself. You have it in there. Band together with local parents and teachers because they are out there. I don't care what the demographics of your county are or how they vote. People are fed up. Band with them, network with them, power in numbers, and get out there and get your kids back.
I have to say, I love how bold you were in that.
Thank you.
Whole thing, especially with the medical exemption thing, and you're
it's so
firing
good.
back at them, talking about HIPAA. I mean, that was awesome. I was like, this
Thank
lady
you.
slays. Like every single person watching this is going to be so inspired, and people are clapping for you in the back. That's awesome.
Right.
That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Most normal people realize what is going on is wrong, but they won't say anything about it. So you doing this, you're a true American patriot. We really appreciate you here, and thank you so much for coming on, Lilit.
Thank you.
Thank you for spreading my message, you guys. I appreciate it.
Of course. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
And that was our interview with Lilit. She's amazing.
Truly a firecracker. Amazing. And that hair, amazing.
That hair, amazing. Yeah, she's doing great, really wonders for her school board and for her community. And I want to see more parents doing that because, again, it's a rare thing to find people who are willing to speak up and say something. So I'm glad that she was willing to do that.
Yeah, every parent should be willing to do that. If you're seeing what's happening in your school and you see parents doing, or you see the school doing this, you have to speak up. You are called to speak up. And one thing we want to mention is that, if you want the tools and resources that you can use from PragerU, make sure that you text the word live to 41776. That's 41776. This you get updates from PragerU about new videos, new content, new initiatives, new all sorts of stuff that we have going on. Text the word live. It's one word, LIVE, or live, but live to 41776. Taylor's going to drop it in because I probably didn't do the best job of explaining it. But
It's all right.
all of you guys, I know you guys all have cell phones. Some of you guys are watching it on cell phones right now, this live. So just text it. It's easy. Text it, get some updates from PragerU. We'd love to message you.
Well, it's also a lot of you guys are saying that even though you are subscribed to us and you have notifications on, you're not getting notifications from us when we go live on YouTube and Facebook and just in general. So texting that number will get you notifications as well whenever we're doing these live streams and future updates on changes to the show. If we're going to get a podcast feed, we got some other exciting things coming up potentially. So, make sure you support us and subscribe so you know what's going on.
It's not potentially. We will have exciting things.
We will have exciting things. You can see our shining faces and get a notification for when we go live.
Exactly. You guys can see Amala's new hair.
Yes, my new hair. That's true. I didn't even talk about that.
There's a lot of hair compliments in the stream today.
Oh.
Just for Amala.
That's what I said. I figured.
Thank you guys. You're very sweet.
Someone said, Sam Spade said, I speak out against Will Witt's hair when I feel bold enough.
Sam, I don't know why you would ever speak out against my hair. You should be happy that I'm giving men a good name.
He's given the coif.
Yeah, the coif look. A little Johnny Bravo, That's what I'm going for.
Man.
Well, guys, we put out a new 5-minute video with PragerU, so I'm going to show you just a little bit of that, not the whole thing. It was with Marty McCary, who is a great doctor. He's been featured on Fox News, a bunch of different networks, speaking out, especially during this whole COVID-19 hysteria. But he did a 5-minute video with us where he talks about proactive medicine, how we're very reactionary in American healthcare today, and he wrote an amazing book about fixing the healthcare system. You can look that up if you'd like, but let's see a little clip here.
America is sick and getting sicker by the moment. Is it any wonder then that healthcare costs continue to surge out of control, outpacing every other sector of the economy? Starbucks pays more for healthcare than it does for coffee beans. General Motors pays more for healthcare than it does for steel. 17 cents of every dollar spent in the U.S. goes to healthcare. That's 1/6 of all spending. 48% of all federal spending is related to healthcare. Not surprisingly, as of 2018, healthcare became the biggest business in the country. And the killer, literally, is that we're not getting healthier. Why is that? Complex question. But we can boil it down to two things. One, we don't pay enough attention to our own health. Strange, our health is our greatest asset, and yet we often abuse it. We eat food that doesn't nourish, avoid basic exercise, and ignore sleep. Two, we doctors don't pay enough attention to basic patient needs.
It's a very interesting video. I would urge you guys to go watch it. And he talks about our broken healthcare system. And he said we spend an exorbitant amount of money on healthcare in America, yet we're not getting better. We're getting significantly more obese. There's more cardiac problems. There's more problems like diabetes, more chronic illness here in America. It's getting worse and worse.
We also have to look at part of the reasons why we spend so much as well. I mean, it's because the federal government is hand in hand with Big Pharma. The opiate epidemic because of Big Pharma, because of our bureaucracy. Vaccine, National Injury Council because of our bureaucracy. All sorts of other different examples of Big Pharma. I mean, and the things with giving, like, oh man, like doctors will diagnose people with anything so that they can prescribe them meds nowadays because it makes them money. It's all screwed up. It's all really screwed up.
Right. I used to work in medicine. I've said this many times on the stream. I used to work in medicine before I worked here. And the amount of hoops that you have to jump through as a doctor really is demotivating for these practitioners and people who work in the medical field. It is so much more difficult now to do what would be a basic job. And we're not teaching people to be proactive about their health, to keep themselves healthy, to avoid things like chronic illness. Instead, we are allowing them to fall into the depths of chronic illness and then throwing medication at it, because we all know that makes the insurance companies, it makes Big Pharma more money, and eventually it makes the government more money. So it's a very tragic cycle of which we are putting people into when it could all be avoided by practicing proactive healthcare measures.
Yeah, well, they just prescribe anyone pills who asks for it. You can just go into the hospital or to your doctor and say, sometimes I have anxiety, and they give you some like horse tranquilizer, basically.
Right.
Like, this is terrible what people are taking. Like, oh yeah, it's really bad. There's a lot of problems with this. So definitely check out the whole video. Check out other resources about this too. It's a huge problem.
Yeah, I also have an interview that we did with Marty McCary that is circulating around Twitter, Instagram, if you want to go check that out as well, where we go a little bit more in depth to what he thinks pro tips are in terms of being proactive for your healthcare and what you can do as an individual day to day to be just a healthier person and avoid all this Big Pharma and insurance, all these issues.
Yeah, don't eat Burger King. That's your first step to not being healthy.
Yeah,
don't eat Burger King.
For multiple reasons, don't eat Burger King.
First of all, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Secondly, it tastes bad.
Yep.
Third, they want to turn kids trans. So, 3 big no's right there.
Right, you don't need any more reasoning than that.
Same with Chipotle, even though Chipotle tastes good. I still haven't eaten it yet. I still haven't eaten it.
You still haven't eaten it. That's pretty good. We got to do check-ins every now and then on the stream to make sure that Will is holding steadfast in his beliefs and he's not going through withdrawals.
It's fine. I don't even need it. Just a little queso. Just a little queso.
Just drop it on the floor. Anyways, our next story is just a fun little video that I wanted to show you guys. So North Face went after oil and gas, sort of talking them out, refusing to do jackets for the oil and gas companies, which is a really popular thing. A lot of these oil and gas companies, mechanic companies, anybody who's working in construction or a lot of labor fields will use North Face as their brand for their jackets, their different swag, their hats, whatever the case may be. But North Face says they're no longer going to supply that for the oil and gas industry. So this was a response from a man who works in the oil and gas industry, responding to North Face.
I'm Chris Wright, CEO of Liberty Energy. North Face recently came out against my industry, even refusing to let one of my competitors put their company logo on a North Face jacket. I went through North Face's website of wide-ranging products, and I failed to find a single product that wasn't made out of oil and gas. The great majority of North Face's products, jackets, backpacks, outdoor pants, shirts, shoes, hats, etc., are dominantly made out of the oil and gas that we so proudly produce. Globally, 60% of all clothing fibers are made out of oil and gas. For North Face, it is likely 90% or more. So North Face is not only an extraordinary customer of the oil and gas industry, they are also a partner with the oil and gas industry. So thank you, North Face, and you're welcome.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Thank you, North Face, and you're welcome.
Thank you, North Face. Very cool.
I just think it's so funny that we, especially the left, feels the need to virtue signal so hard, even when it's against industries and systems of which they support in their own daily endeavors.
I just don't get how can you be so dumb? You can be so dumb to come and say, I'm not going to support oil and gas, knowing that your products are made with oil and gas. Not thinking that, what, you're not going to get found out for this?
It's like,
how are you so dumb?
They don't care. They don't care. As long as they get their political message out and they make sure that they can give themselves a little pat on the back and everybody knows that they're woke and that they support the left, they're fine.
That's wild. You would just think that there would be some sort of repercussion for this.
You'd think someone would like make a video and then call them out on it.
I know.
And show it on a live stream.
I know. Well, that was such an awesome video. That guy is sick. This is an awesome video, him coming out and saying that.
It's good of him to just take the time to be like, no, this is the real story. Let me set you straight, because so often these things go unchecked and nobody talks about them, and they just let the companies virtue signal and pander, even though they are, you know, perpetuating and contributing to the same systems of which they claim to be against.
It's like if you work in some industry like this or some company, whatever it is, and you see a hypocritical thing happening at one of these industries, you should make a video like this. Like this guy's not famous.
Right.
This guy doesn't, know, I mean, maybe he has some connections and things, but he's not like a big star or anything. He just made this video and said, I'm going to put it out because I see their hypocrisy, and he made it funny and it was interesting and entertaining. It's like you could do that too. You could be that same person. If you see hypocrisy happening in a company that you work with or a partner or work for, whatever it might be, call them out. Call them out.
The same thing with the teacher at this who spoke up about CRT. It's just, call out the verbal stumble. Hypocrisy when you see it. Call out the hypocrisies of the left, and when you do, when you make the truth known, it resonates with people. You're going to make an impact.
Yeah, this guy definitely made an impact. I'm
true.
going to South Face.
Yeah. You're going to South Face?
Bring my business elsewhere.
Both of those videos were a minute, and all it takes is a minute of your time to just say something, to speak out, and both of them have gone viral. Plenty of people have gotten the message out. They've heard it, they've seen it, and now they're discovering all these other issues and all these other companies that are pandering and just placating to issues of which they support in their own time. So
if anyone knows anything about speaking truth in 1 minute, it's Amala because she got put on the map through just a 20-year-old girl from Florida who changed her mind about politics, changed her mind about her worldview, started making 1 minute videos on TikTok, and they started going absolutely viral. And that's why she's sitting here right now. Right. 6 months later, not even. Yeah,
it's a little weird. It's crazy.
So you can change the world.
Yeah,
you can change the world. You could be a black female conservative if you just make 1 minute videos. Okay,
you just make a 1 minute video. That's all it takes to transform.
You could change your life. Happens overnight. Okay.
We have one more, speaking of TikTok, one more video to react to for you guys. This is from Twitter. I'm not even going to preface it with anything. I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm just going to show it to you.
Well, you can look at it and say, I can tell this type of person.
Do you see what color her hair is?
You know what's coming.
You know what's coming. Here's your reminder that fatphobia is rooted in racism.
Here we go.
Here's your reminder that fatphobia is rooted in racism. As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that. The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait. And this is regardless of whether or not black people individually were actually fat. That was irrelevant. The message they spread was that black women specifically were ravenous and uncontrollable, and these barbaric traits made them fat. On the flip side, thinness was marketed as a white trait. Again, regardless of whether or not individual white people were actually thin, that was irrelevant. The idea was that white women specifically were refined and restrained, and this led them to having delicate, thin bodies. Over the years, these messages have become more subtle, but even today, they are still very prevalent in conversations around race, health, capitalism, and poverty. Here's your reminder that fatphobia is rooted.
It's like every time I see another leftist TikTok, I get taken on a roller coaster that I can't get off of.
It's like, how far can you make yourself like you ate a bunch of McDonald's, okay? This lady ate a bunch of Burger King, and then she's trying to play it off that like she made horrible life decisions to make herself this way, and then is trying to play it off that it's racist that anyone would ever call her fat.
I know.
It's like, it's not racist. You're just fat.
And also, it's like I do not see this whole scenario that she's playing out, that somehow the media portrays black people as fat more often than they portray white people as fat. That's not true whatsoever. And I've never heard that archetype ever expressed when it comes to talking about black people. There's lots of fat black people in the media, lots of fat white people in the media. It's just fat people in the media. And like, if you see someone, if you're walking down the street as like a young man, you see someone like this with blue hair who's overweight, like you're not thinking like that person looks black. You're thinking that person's fat. Yeah,
you know?
I just don't know where this narrative comes from whatsoever, and it's just another effort to pick yet another struggle so that the conversation around racism continues. Even though, like we said time and time again, a black person in this country is not held back in any way. We are not systemically racist in this country. Not to say that racists do not exist, because clearly there are people who are racist against all colors. It doesn't matter what color you are, but to surround a narrative around being fat phobic or portraying fat people as being black, it's completely false.
But this is delusional. This is genuinely delusional. It's a way that instead of anyone having to actually face their own problems or say the world is or I did this to myself or I messed up or whatever, I can just blame it on racism. I can just say, oh, you hate me because of black racism that happened 300 years ago and now you can't say I'm fat. It's like, no, people are going to look at you and think that you're fat. That's just how it is. You know, not because of any racism. That's just how the world works. It doesn't matter your skin color. Stop taking stop saying that it's the world's fault and white people's fault for the way that your life turned out. If your life sucks or you're fat and ugly, you probably did that to yourself. Okay? Don't blame the rest of the world or white people for your bad actions.
Right. And if you want to talk about, there's a whole separate conversation you could have where you could actually be doing good. She mentions socioeconomic status and being poor and the problem that comes with obesity and poverty. And that's a whole different conversation. That's something you could actually bring light to. That's a subject of which you could talk about, have a meaningful discussion on how to fix that problem because it is a genuine problem here in America. And obesity is a top killer across all races. It doesn't matter what race you are. And to take an issue like that and then attribute it to race and look at it through the lens of racism is a complete disservice to the real conversation that you should be having around obesity in America.
Right, and the point is right now with us watching this video, again, we're not trying to call out all fat people and say you're gross or anything like that. That's not at all what we're trying to do. We're trying to say don't shrug off the problem of obesity by saying that it's somehow caused by racism or that we are supposed to accept your lifestyle because of racism. That's not how this works. We are not going to accept your lifestyle of being obese because you tell us that it was something that happened racist 300 years ago. That's just not how this works.
Right. There's such an effort to take anything that is a problem within our society and shrug it off or attribute it to racism in some way so that we don't need to have a discussion about it and we don't need to fix it. And again, America has never had a problem with portraying black people as fat and that being a black trait. I've never heard that in my life.
That's because you never read her enlightening book that she showed off at the beginning, which cover was backwards, by the way. We couldn't tell what it says.
She's like, maybe if they don't look at the cover of this book, maybe if they don't read it, I can still push this
I
narrative.
also still don't get why she's even making the video because she's white.
Isn't that always the issue?
If she's white,
she's an enlightened white person,
right?
White fat person, and you are not, and so she's educating you generously.
But is she saying
your fat phobia and racism?
Is she saying that if you're fat phobic towards her, it's because you're racist, even though she's white?
No, she's making the point that fat phobia in general has a racist structure.
Okay.
Basically,
yes. Saying that, like, you know, because black Americans, a lot of which live below the poverty line, which is contributed to being obese, that being fat phobic is contributed to you not liking black people.
But it's just so dumb because at the end of the day, they will make any excuse or any reasoning besides that prevents you from having to take responsibility for your choices and your actions.
Right.
You know, any explanation in the world that it always seems to bend back toward racism and white supremacy and systemic issues and why America's, you know, this horrible, evil place. It's like their reasoning is fixed to that point, and they filter reality through that lens and find ways to tie it in. And it always goes against taking responsibility for yourself, having any sort of accountability for your own life and your own choices.
It was like this article that came out today. Maybe you could find it here online. We didn't pull it up earlier, but it was this one about birds. Did you see this?
Yeah, it was trending. Yeah,
it was like birds are racist. What the hell are you talking about? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now birds are racist. Why is everything racist?
Yeah, it was like people who discovered and named them were colonizers, or I don't know, some dumb thing like that. And
every single,
I can't find it.
You can't find it?
I can find the tweet.
Yeah, maybe
I'll look
it was a Washington Post article.
Yeah, it was a Washington Post article about birds being racist or something stupid like that.
Right here. It is.
Everything is racist.
Here's the cover here.
I found it. Oh.
The racist legacy that many birds carry. Birders grapple with complicated past linked to slavery, white supremacy. The Washington Post National Weekly.
That's so dumb. How can you be so out of touch with reality? No one cares. No one cares.
I don't get it at this point. I mean, everything that the left talks about is somehow attributed to racism. The patriarchy is attributed to racism. Obesity is attributed to racism. Poverty is attributed to racism. Birds are attributed to racism.
Birds.
I'm at a loss.
Can you, and also look up, just look at this Washington Post article. Do you see how much empty space there is? Do you see how much of a page they took up for this? That's a lot of money to have a story like this. So this obviously means they're not trying to hide it in the back of the newspaper or whatever. They're putting it straight up front for everyone to see that, yeah, birds are racist. What a load of garbage, okay? It's so dumb. Who cares that birds are racist? No one cares. No one, no normal person cares. I'll tell you a story that happened yesterday because this is actually very funny. Okay, so I went to the dog park yesterday. This is kind of about like most normal people don't care, but some people are just so tied to their stupidity. Okay, so I go to the dog park yesterday with Rocky, and these other people are there with a guy with a husky, this woman with 2 French bulldogs who are actually, they act like big dogs, and then this guy in scrubs comes and he's got this red pointer. Beautiful dog. Anyway, the guy in scrubs comes. I don't know what happened, but he starts getting all talking about COVID with everyone, and he asks the people who are there, they're like, you get the vaccine? And the one girl is like, yeah, I got it. Now I'm having these like heart palpitations and stuff. I'm like not doing very well. And the guy's like, well, I'm glad you got it. You're going to be fine. Like everything, like you're way better off for getting it. And the girl's like, well, I feel worse now. I feel worse. And then they asked me, they're like, did you get the vaccine? I was like, no, I didn't. And the guy's like, why not? I was like, well, I already had COVID. And when I had COVID, I took HCQ when I had it. Right? And the guy's like, what's HCQ? I'm like, hydroxychloroquine. And the guy goes, okay, I'm leaving. And he gets his dog, puts his dog on a leash and says, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to have my dog play with your dog because you took HCQ while you had COVID.
That is wild.
Can you believe that? So this dude just rolls out with his dog after talking to me because of that. How like disconnected from reality. These are the same people who think that birds are racist. That and the other people with their dogs, they were like, what did you say? Did you say something bad? I was like, I don't know. This guy's just freaking out right now. And so it's like you have some people who are just so tied to this racism and they can't talk to anyone with a difference of opinion and everything. They look through the world in this certain lens. And then you just have normal people who are like, this is so stupid. I don't care about this at all.
Right. And keep in mind that all these little things talking about racism, although it may sound very ridiculous and may even sound ridiculous to even talk about or comment on, are part of a larger plan. And that larger plan is to paint America as a racist, white supremacist society. And if they are successful in doing that, if they are successful in convincing people that all of our systems, all of our institutions, our governance is based around white supremacy and racism, it will be much easier to take those things down and destroy them. So if you can convince the general public that America is racist, they will want to destroy the systems of which make our country great. So there is an underlying agenda around this, even though all of it sounds completely ludicrous. And with that guy at the dog park, you should be talking to people who have a different opinion. And I know a lot of conservatives want to stay in their bubble and they don't want to talk to people who have different values than them because they think that's a fundamental problem with that person. You should always be talking to people who have differing values from you. Even if they don't change their minds, they will make your opinion stronger.
Yes. They're no longer going to have racist dog whistles. It's going to be racist bird calls. Bird whistles.
That's next. So, wow.
Is that a Native American thing, or is that a bird
I don't want
call?
to get canceled, so
yeah.
I'm just going to say bird call.
Wow, Will, that's a good
the
party
many
trick.
talents of Will Witt.
The many talents of Will Witt.
You know, not a big deal. Just I can do anything. So.
And so can you, everybody.
Now, speaking of many talents, Amala sang on a track for America the Beautiful on this ad we have coming up for PragerU.
I
so
did.
Stay tuned.
You guys are going to hear me sing. And if you guys want to hear me sing tonight on Instagram, I do Music Mondays at 8 p.m. PST. So you guys can check that out.
If you want to hear me rap every Saturday night down at the underground station in Fairfax, I do freestyle battles. So catch me there.
That's not true. My Music
Will goes
Mondays
to South
are true.
Central one time and thinks he's big.
Yo, yo, yo.
Well, that is our stream for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you like watching these streams, please like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and text live to
41776. That's 41776.
Perfect. And you will get notified every time that we go live on YouTube and any updates we have about the show and anything else going on at PragerU. We appreciate you watching. And if you have any parting words, my parting words for you are talk to people with a difference of opinion. Make friends with people of a difference of opinion. You never know what lives you will change.
Birds are racist. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.